Hello.
All right, mic check 1. Mic check 2.
Testing.
Test these.
1, 2, 3.
Okay. No. 3, 2.
Okay.
Yeah, right. I'm telling you. Yeah, what's up, Mr. Gemini, Chef Philly D, episode 2.
So we are now. Wow. Yeah. Here we go.
Was it? You know, it's January 27th at this point, right?
It is now. Yeah, it is 12/26 on
12/26,
January
and all is
27th,
well.
2021.
Do you know where your children are? What? No, they're probably sleeping. It's all good. Don't worry about it.
Captain's log started.
Captain's log. I was thinking that too, right? I'm glad that wasn't just me.
I'm really not that much of a nerd, but well, now, yeah, I am. All right. Anyway,
I'm gonna. Dude, I know. I was about to be like, I'm gonna refer back to the manifesto that you signed, good sir. Which, I mean, I'll be honest. I think that's a great place to go ahead and start, Co. So we
don't have to go through the entire thing. I'm not going to read it out.
Oh yeah, no. If you want that, refer to Green Room episode 1 because we started that. So that's a new great thing. So more content. Go ahead and check it out somewhere else. Maybe at one point, if we sell out and make some good money from it.
I'm just speaking truth. No, I'm just whatever. We don't know.
We're not like that. This isn't the point behind it.
See,
it's all organic, all real.
It's all grassroots. I'm really not sure what that means, but I think it grows like naturally, so it sounds organic.
How many jokes you gotta have? You're gonna keep making dad jokes? Is this what this is? This is dad joke hour? Is this what happened here? I thought this was a serious platform, not dad jokes.
All right, well.
So I want to be on. Oh, sorry.
No.
Back to the manifesto, as I call it, right? Your statements that you made, which again you can refer back to the Green Room. I enjoyed the language, right? I enjoyed the purpose, right? And you made a statement of, hey, I would like you to collab on it, which got us into a conversation about, why I ask you, hey, why do you think you have so much negativity? Because a lot of your statements, while they're always positive, it's always negative. And this goes to that. Well, it goes to that conversation we had before of like nature nurture. So that's kind of where I'd like to see. Not so much like you negativity-wise. That's a whole other thing for another time. My bigger point is like nature nurture. Like how much of that do you think? Because I myself, I know that I had that kind of thing, right? Like I've had my own negativities. I've had my past pains, all those kind of things.
Well, like you say, you always try to remind me. Like anytime we have an emotional attachment or outburst relating to something,
when you become like defensive,
especially relating to something that somebody else does, it's you don't say it almost, you say it's always projection.
Correct.
And I have
that's the psychology.
And every time I come back to you, you're like, nope, always. But what if then? Nope, always.
Because
I'm just like, okay, all right, we'll go with that.
Because it's always going to be, regardless of what your statement is, it's going to be of your perception. So being of your bias, your perception, no matter what you say, it is a projection because it's a projection of your bias or your perspective.
See, now we're getting, wow. All right, we just jumped into philosophy, and I'm not sure if it's Descartes or what we're quoting right now, but...
There is no chair.
Oh, well. That's the honest to God. That's the truth. I'm just saying from a physics, a science-y standpoint. I'm just saying it's anyhow.
This is why I love our conversations.
And the funny thing is, this is not the Green Room now, which means we're on drink number 2.
Well, that is true.
Wait, let's make it official.
Oh, there you go. So all of you at home, Chef Philly D, you know how I do it. There's my beer. I cracked it.
So
now you know it's me. It's like you saw it. You're like, oh, look, no, that's a signature. That's real. That happened.
I mean,
you heard me crack a beer. You know it's me.
What we plan to do is be serious. I mean, but it's still going to be entertaining. It's still going to be honest and heartfelt. And like off the cuff, right? I mean, that's what it's like. Everything's ad
off
hoc.
The cuff, not off the topic. So
this is
nature nurture.
Tonight's meeting was planned an hour before the Green Room.
No, the Green Room was planned an hour before the Green Room. Tonight's meeting was
true.
planned an hour and a half before the, or an hour and 45, 2 hours. Time flies.
You're getting so specifical.
Yeah, very much. So nature, nurture. So why do you think? Because again, my personal perspective, I know for a fact that I've done this before myself, right? Like I have had my journey through my own pain and negativity. We all have. Some of us are still there. We're still working on it. You know, some of us may always hold on to it because maybe that's our path in this life, right? Do you think that it is a nature or a nurture? And I think, all right, so I'm going to go back to last episode where I talked about how stardust is the thing that is like the universe's DNA, and we're all made of it. Like everything is composed somehow or another of this universal stardust, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's that idea. If that's the innate DNA of everything, we have an inherent knowledge of all things, as we talked about, like the Akashic records, right, or the Akashic field, things of that nature. Nature, nurture. Do you think that negativity is built into us as humans, or as the spirit of our creators in a sense? Right there. Ooh, that's a good question, right?
Well, I mean, you could go straight Freudian and say a lot of the ways I react to anything in life are due to the upbringing of my mother and my father.
Well, there's definitely an influence
in that. How they raised me because of how they were raised. I mean, you can...
Right, well, because no matter what, there's always going to be, and that's my thing is, there's always going to be nature and nurture. No matter what, it's always going to be a combination thereof. However, the nature or the nurture, depending, may be the stronger thing, right?
I mean,
and we don't know.
Call it negative, a negative thought, if you will, but it can be looked at in both aspects. But like one of the things I can always attribute to my father is something to the effect of, well, nothing in life is free, and be careful because, if you get something for free, usually you get what you pay for.
There's some truth to that. Well, there's
that
some
can be looked at as
truth
very negative, but I don't.
I see that as very positive, but that's because I look for that.
Right.
That's my perspective. Because that's what I aim at.
Hey, beware.
But going back to that statement of, you can't not think about the negative, but doesn't mean that you can't not think about the positive. So you can think about the positive and be aware of the negative, as well as we know that the negative needs to be there for that differentiation. This is off topic. Nature, nurture. Which do you think is the more predisposed, and why? Because personally, I don't think there is any kind of predisposition that's going to have a greater tendency. Because, in all honesty, your nurture or your nature could be that stronger force. So to me, then it begs a bigger question of what's more important, and is that predisposed? So, are you predetermined coming into this world of hey, no matter what, this is going to be your life?
I mean,
did you, I signed up. It's I'm going to be a paratrooper of da da da.
I think, and if what we're talking about is kind of Darwinian theory, I think in general, I don't think there's necessarily just two rails to that politic.
Right.
If that's one way to put it.
Certainly.
That I don't think necessarily it's either one or the other, and maybe a combination of both. But I don't think that's necessarily the only factor. And I was and this is where being able to write shorthand that I can understand, and while I'm still listening to you, will be a great skill that I will learn on the fly, because I don't know how to do that yet. But
this certainly affords the opportunity to do so.
It certainly does. Because then what I have to do is I have to revisit after hearing you out and then starting off on my own. Revisit what I was thinking about. That I got an argument there.
Well, and I think that's a great thing about what this is doing, because one of our original conversations was, we know that us having these conversations is good for us. Then the reflection would be then hopefully that there should be good for others in it.
There's and just knowing there's 3 listeners out there is just wonderful. But just honest, seriously, because otherwise I'm just talking to myself.
No. See, I'll be honest. The 3 listeners is you and me is 2 of them, because I re-listen to everything and then I give it to a couple other people. So we already have 5 listeners. Maybe 6 at this point. I don't even know. I don't really care to count because I like listening to me. I'm gonna say it.
I'll be honest. So just
I'm gonna say it.
However, I think my voice sounds a little funny myself.
But I'm in a place where I'm okay with my voice. And when I say I like listening to me, it's not that it's just like, oh, me and only me. If there isn't another person, there's no conversation. It's just me talking to myself. I don't like talking to myself.
The tree falls in a way, yeah.
You're right. I don't like talking to myself, but I do like listening to myself because I make some great points. And if it wasn't for the counterparts, if it wasn't for the people that I'm speaking with, I wouldn't have those. So, while I'm cherishing and celebrating me, that's also a continuation or reflection of celebrating those who are here to be a part of it.
And just to get back, this is not an egotistical thing because, and this is what I was trying to get. So much of this stuff is hard to put words around, Yeah, whole other topic just bounced through my head. Sorry. And that's the problem. Like, we almost need somebody to keep us on topic. Like, what were we talking about again?
Nature and nurture.
So nature and nurture, I think that discounts the whole...
Well, because, all right, so here...
To really, truly come around to being, and I don't even claim to be there, but to being fully honest with yourself.
Well, and
exploring not just the positive things about yourself. That's the easy stuff. But kind of routing out the things that, like, God, I can't stand when I do that because it backs me into a corner psychologically, and then I have no way out, and I've got nobody to blame but myself.
So that's why my bigger question is: do you think nature or nurture, in the fact of like, all right, so do you think this is something that's built into us in a DNA aspect because we need it in order for us to progress forward? So is this like, like you said, Darwinianism, right? So is this something that's been now built into us because it's like, hey, if we don't have that, oh crap, what am I going to get my next meal from, right? If I don't have that urgency, what am I going to do about it? Right? So that to me would be the actual nature component. So it's built into us now. The nurture side, the upbringing, the environment, because now we have this environment where everything is so 23 seconds ago, right? Which is, so a conversation you and I were having on the phone earlier was millennials and this whole idea of instant gratification, right? So that was so 23 seconds ago. So now our environment is completely different to the fact of like there's urgency. Now it's like there's an even greater sense of urgency because it's so 23 seconds ago. So now is it, that's why to me it's like, was that built into us to create this, or is it because of our environment that we've now it's actually become like nature? Like it's now, the environment itself caused us to now have it as DNA based. So to me it's chicken or the egg. Like I know both have a place in it, but to me it's like, hey, did it happen because it was already predisposed? Or was it because that's just our environment? And
nature meaning adaptations in DNA, which honestly, and a lot of people don't know this, actually occur in the human body or an animal body while it's still living. I mean, small changes and adaptations happen all the time. That's where cancer cells come from.
Mutations. Variants.
It's normal to some extent.
It's very normal.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just had to do that.
To a very small extent.
Standard deviations. That's calculus, man. That's what I love about calculus, right? You gotta have standard deviations.
See, and this is where I don't have the school, and this is where you pick up with that. But
if you're gonna do, apparently, so I didn't know this. If you're gonna do business, apparently you have to be good with numbers.
I'm sorry.
Well, no. Like, no. So when I say go with numbers, I mean like 1 + 1 is 2, right? And 1 × 2 is 2. Like, okay, math is adding, subtracting, multiplication, division. No. Apparently there's standard deviations because there's programming, and then no. That's not. I want an Excel spreadsheet where I'm like, this is how much money I have. This is how much money I want to make, and the computer just says 42. That's a joke for some people that might get that.
Oh, yeah. Right.
But yeah, no, that's not a thing. That's
and we can have a whole conversation about Terrence Howard's math, because that was interesting too.
Purple is delicious.
It is.
But yeah, so that's why I'm like nature nurture, because that's that Darwinianism, and I love that point. Because I mean it begs the question of, did we evolve from our environment, or was there an actual possibility for like modification? Is there a nature nurture? Like, did the environment change it? Because it obviously had an influence, but
I think, and this is kind of where I'd like to come from, is
Right.
that there's another aspect of humanity that makes us different from the animal kingdom. And that aspect is the ability to look within oneself.
consciousness, right? Being aware, and not only being aware, but being aware of
Conscious
being aware.
awareness.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I'm aware that I'm aware. You are cognizant.
Like, a dog is aware. I would not argue that. A dog is definitely aware.
Yeah.
But a dog doesn't question where his next meal is going to come from. A dog is very much in the now. A dog doesn't worry about future plans. A dog doesn't...
Yeah, a house broken.
I mean...
I would agree to that.
And,
wild like wolf or something.
to
not so
argue
much,
whether
but-
or not animals have emotions, yes, sure. Animals have basic, root, instinctual emotions like we do too.
I mean,
You know?
honestly, my personal opinion is they probably have a greater sense of emotion than we do, because they think of it. Their perception is probably built within an idea of energy or vibration or a frequency thing, which goes back to one of our previous conversations.
If you find a connection with an animal, it's much more hardwired. Much more hardwired, even so than it is with a human. Because there's not that that damn ego gets in the friggin' way every time. And it's not other people. 99.999% of the time, let's be honest. It's not the other people that did anything to us.
It's our own bias.
Yeah.
We
don't
are our
realize.
own worst enemies on so many levels, man.
And that's that book that I gotta finish and get back to you. That was.
I am. Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm in the middle of still reading that. Once I get it back, I'll have to.
Yeah, I think I need to join your wifey's book club, whatever.
These are just things that have been either given to or came across and then shared. So, I wouldn't so much call it a book club as just people who have an open-minded
But the whole
platform. And they want to be able to feed the machine. You know?
there's so many, and honestly, I probably could have finished that thing in less than a week. It's just I've been so scatterbrained lately that I've been, on it and off it, and even while I was away, I meant to finish it one night, and I ended up writing a page instead. So
I'll be honest. One, we should always be in transition, because this is one of my favorite sayings from Dr. Eric Thomas. The only thing permanent is change. Okay, I'm going to say that one more time. The only thing permanent is change, meaning the only thing that is going to be consistent, always there, is the fact that things are always going to change.
Sure.
That is a given. What they're going to change to, that we don't know. I mean, we can have some precursors, or
I mean, we can test
guesstimate,
Tesla this bitch right back to last episode if we want to do that. But
the simple fact is the only thing that's going to always be there is change. Well, you might as well go ahead and embrace that. So, and that's that. Going back to the manifesto idea, is that I want to make sure that we're a part of something that is forever evolving, forever organic, and just open. That is a beautiful thing.
And for me. And this goes back to that idea that I was trying to, I keep trying to come back to, and this is what makes our conversations interesting, because we're allowed to do this anyway.
Yeah, we are. Well, we are. We
so
absolutely
much more fun,
are.
is that it takes a long time to get a thought out.
Sometimes it does.
So the argument was nature nurture, and I was
Yes.
saying
Yes.
there's another aspect that humanity brings, and it is encapsulated around the ability for knowledge of your own consciousness. So self-consciousness and
What? And see, and now I would agree with you.
well, I'm gonna have to finish the thought eventually, but it's fine. It's fine. It's perfect.
I thought you were done. My apologies. Continue.
Yeah,
because I want to agree with you.
And this is what I'm saying. It's some of these topics. It's not the kind of thing you can just slap words around, and just they're not. They're sloppy, ineffectual vehicles for transferring ideas sometimes when it comes to trying to understand. Basically what I'm saying is humanity has the ability to flip the switch. Humanity has the ability to
consciousness and awareness. Yeah, right.
Well,
Because of that, yeah.
To transcend all of that.
Yeah.
If you believe all the miraculous stories of people that have basically been blessed with somewhat of a power after,
I believe we all have
after having
God-given gift,
basically a near-death experience, and in the process forgiving their attacker, we're literally gifted with some kind of ability. Like, you ever heard stories like that?
So when as soon as you said that, forgiving your attacker, my instant thought and reaction, Nelson Mandela. I love this man, right? He's imprisoned for the simple fact that he wants to speak out and just have equality, like honest equality, right? Not better, not retribution. There's no past due. No, dude.
Well, and that's
let's
the
start
thing
even, right?
People start throwing around the word equality, but we can come back to that. Yeah.
And simple fact is he literally.
We changed definitions. Sorry.
Well, but it's the semantics of us.
We literally.
He just forgiving his captors for what they did. Like, he instantly came out a better man. Like, he endured that hell that was forced upon him, and from that became this amazing enlightenment that is just beyond transcendence. So that's why I'm like, dude, I have to agree with you. Because Churchill, Friedrich Douglass, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many. Malcolm X. You want to talk about Malcolm X? This is, to me, the story of Malcolm X. It was self-induced. He allowed society to depict who he was going to be, and succumb to so many things. Pardon my.
You mean he chose to be the voice of the people?
Well, but no.
It was kind of thrust upon
prior to him becoming Malcolm X, his persona before then, his massively negative inducing, succubus of like horrid things in life. He allowed himself to succumb to that, and then from that he became this voice of honesty and equality on so many levels that it transcended race and religion, color, creed. None of this means anything. Do gender, sex, how you identify, it does not matter. Self-induced, right? So to me, adversity at this point, like you were saying before, man, without that negativity, we can't have it.
That's the kind of thing I want to produce, though. The kind of thing that I want to stand behind and be proud of was it Charlie Chaplin's speech? I think it was Charlie Chaplin's speech. One of the things I got really hooked on, I forget where it came from, but I started listening to it, and it's all pervasive, and the way that he speaks it with such heart. But the Machine Men, you ever heard that speech? I can look it up and play.
Yeah, not that I'm recalling. Yeah, we need a tech person on this. Can we?
But if you were to look up the Machine Men speech,
dude, grab your phone, do it.
Something, just it's.
Yeah, stay with the thought.
So anyway,
I want to hear this because I don't know anything about Machine Men with Charlie Chaplin.
The ability to transcend. We're always so busy as animals trying to protect ourselves to look around us and see the differences we have with each other instead of seeing what brings us together and what makes us common.
So,
if
I may then,
that is what mankind brings. And when you hear a speech like the one I'm talking about, and there's Mandela's speech, I'm not as written up on that one, but, people like that. Mahatma Gandhi, like, the words of these people, because they came from a place where, like, kind of, I guess what you were saying is, the story wasn't even about them anymore. It became about something greater, and that's where I'm coming from. Like, I feel like what I'm going through, what you're going through right now, and all this COVID can just go fuck itself. And everybody feels the same thing, but everybody's so scared to say anything about it. But what really, when you look at it, and what really scares me, is that it brings us further apart as individuals that can get along with each other in a society. Because it just makes it so much easier to see the differences we have with each other when we're forced to stand more than 6 feet apart. When we're not allowed to hold hands with a stranger because we feel a connection at that moment. It's taboo to reach across, for some people, not for me, but it's taboo to reach across racial lines at times. Just because somebody's not in the same status as you, or they didn't get born with the same silver spoon in their mouth. We're all people. We can be individuals and still be, we're all the same. There's no words to be able to express.
I'm gonna
talking about.
I'm gonna disagree with you right now. There are words to express, and you just did it. For real. Yeah, for those of you who, because this is only audio, the visual that I have is, listening to that was beautiful. Seeing it was beautiful. Being a part of it was even more blessed. Yeah, for real, dude. No, yeah, dude, I'm gonna be in the moment with you, dude. Words cannot express. He just did. There's truth right there. That this is, and this, dude, literally, you just literally embodied the exact ideation of why I wanted to do this with you for years. I joked about it, put it as the stuff we say is so freaking hilarious. We got to write that down and do a sketch with it or whatever. But what do you got there? What is this?
This is what I was talking about.
Wait, what is? Oh, Charlie Chaplin. All right, there you go. If we can go ahead.
I'm sorry.
We do not own the rights to this. This is not copywritten.
I don't want to rule or conquer anyone. I should like to help everyone if possible. Jew, Gentile, black man, white. We all want to help one another. Human beings are like that. We want to live by each other's happiness, not by...
Whoop. What happened? We lost it. It got really quiet.
That is rich.
There we go.
And can provide for everyone. The way of life can be free and beautiful. But we have lost the way. Greed has poisoned men's souls. Has barricaded the world with hate. Has goose-stepped us into misery and bloodshed. We have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. Our knowledge has made us cynical, our cleverness hard and unkind. We think too much, feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity. More than cleverness, we need kindness and gentleness. Without these qualities, life will be violent, and all will be lost. The aeroplane and the radio have brought us closer together. The very nature of these inventions cries out for goodness in men, cries out for universal brotherhood, for the unity of us all. Even now, my voice is reaching millions throughout the world. Millions of despairing men, women, and little children, victims of a system that makes them torture and imprison innocent people. Those who can hear me, I say, do not despair. The misery that is now upon us is but the passing of greed, the bitterness of men who fear the way of human progress. The hate of men will pass, dictators die, and the power they took from the people will return to the people. And so long as men die, liberty will never perish. Soldiers, don't give yourselves to brutes. Men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, or what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men, machine men, with machine minds and machine hearts. You are not machines, you are not cattle, you are men. You have the love of humanity in your hearts. You don't hate, only the unloved hate, the unloved and the unnatural. Soldiers, don't fight for slavery, fight for liberty. In the 17th chapter of the book of Discovery, the kingdom of God is within man, not one man nor a group of men, but in all men, in you. You, the people, have the power to create machines, the power to create happiness. You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful, to make this life a wonderful adventure. Then in the name of democracy,
That kind of thing. We'll have to review that later to see how that actually sounded, but
I mean, I'm gonna listen to it later regardless, and I'll be honest, I 0 F's given on that one. We have to air that. If that did not just sum up because before you just doing what you did prior to that was a summary of the purpose behind this that I felt.
awesome.
The secondary of doing that was an even more solidifying component. The purpose of this is to have those conversations that we're supposed to be having that nobody's having because we're scared. Why are we so afraid? Why is and this is
Fear.
Come back around again. Nature nurtured. Our environment. Did our environment do this to us? Was this innate because we're supposed to? Because this is how we're supposed to survive? Regardless of that, we are conscious, aware, cognizant beings. Time for fear
those,
is over.
For those with ears to hear, fear is a tool of the wicked. Fear has always been a tool of the wicked. Be careful when people try to make you scared of something.
Yeah, what is what
people
do they
scare you to believe in who your savior is. People scare you to believe in what kind of politics is correct. And the only correct politics is one that looks at every man as an individual with the right to live.
It looks at every individual as an individual. I'm sorry, I have to correct you on that.
And there's a big difference between equal rights and equal outcomes.
Oh. See that?
Because you can't ask for equal outcomes.
Dude, creating equal outcomes.
It's like going to the casino and expecting I'm always going to win. I'm always going to make a 30%
What's the
profit.
point? There's no fun in that.
That's not gambling.
But see, that to me, that's the statement of we have to have that little bit of negative in order for us to have that positive, right?
I think that's a balanced argument, yeah.
I think that's a balanced idea. Not even just a balanced argument, but a balanced idea as well.
I mean,
That's why I said, I have to agree with you. Like, I have to agree with you.
as I'm basically still wiping up the tears of the previous incident,
But that goes to the statement of, dude, that I'm so
my
proud
heart
that this is what I want. This is what I'm after. This is the purpose behind doing this. Literally, you just embodied it, and I am so grateful to be a party of that, dude. I'm literally, I am. Dude, I'm so grateful to be a party of that. I am. So thank you. But yeah, dude, that's why So I love how I started with. Is it nature and nurture that has caused this to happen? Regardless of, we still had a conversation that really comes down to is the outcome. So and that's why I think that's a little ironic, is you make that statement of, so many of us are looking for that equal outcome as opposed to, equal in actual quality. Meaning, because that's the honesty, is like, if you think about it, more and more, like third worlds seem to be disappearing. Technology, modern medicine, all of these things, abundance. These machines producing to such a quantity that there's an abundance that we throw stuff away now, food included, which is horrible because people are starving and yet we're throwing away food. Like, I don't understand that. But regardless, so we have this abundance, and it's like, because of that, we're actually starting to reduce third worlds to nothing, and we're all slowly becoming first worlds. It's just now, like, you made a statement earlier of, like, what is class, right? And so it's getting based on that, because everybody's got an iPhone. You could literally live in, like, a desolate farm of Zimbabwe, and you have an iPhone probably, and that's how you would be able to listen to this in a sense, because there's somehow or another you got like Wi-Fi,
and
enough cellular signal or something, and that's what's great about modern technology, is that now we're reducing all of that. So why? We obviously have this ability in a sense of like a quality of options, and you're right that we seem to be stuck on this level of like we need to have a quality of outcomes, and no, Because if we have quality of outcome, it's going to be that quality of outcome. If everybody is at null, if we all have the same thing, we all have nothing. There's no differentiation.
What are you basing that on? What are your markers?
Well, but that's what I'm saying. Like, we need differentiation. So I don't care what the markers are. We do need differentiation, whatever that is. So whether that's $1 million and no dollars, or negative dollars and $100.
And I really don't want this to turn into a political conversation, because I'm not a political.
It's not a political.
I can't. Yeah,
it doesn't have to be.
No,
I said nothing about politics.
And I'm
talking about differentiation.
I'm just saying that just to be in defense of I'm not a politically minded person. I realize that.
But what is all right? So
any system you create is fallible, because it has. Yeah.
No, I'm going to cut you off. Green room conversation, semantics, right? Definitions. We talked about how the dictionaries have modified proper definitions. What is politics? Politics is the discussion of a system, right? Nowadays, we deem politics as a discussion of our governmental system. So when we say we're debating politics, it's instantly about government. Whereas prior to debating the politics meant to debate the semantics of the situation. And this is where we get into now we have modified definitions and new words that describe other words that shouldn't have existed in the first place. And it's like we get lost in the minutiae of the definitions.
The word semantics itself has a Jewish connotation to it, so it kind of taints the water there. I know what you're talking about, but
what do you don't mean that?
Not
Why
are
you gotta say taint? Modifies. I would say modifies.
You saying that spot between your...
Oh no. But yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, it modifies it. It really does. But regardless of what modification thereof, the simple fact is that's still the outcome. We still have this. We need inequality in order to have differentiation, because otherwise, without it, there is no, there's nothing. Everything is just that's flatline. That's boring. It's dead. That's nothing. Cycleless. Yeah, dude, that's not even wah, 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 wah. No, there's no appa, 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 appa. No, there's no level 2, no life 2. No, it's just, you got nothing at that point.
Well, moving it into an economy like that'd be terrible.
Well, but that's you have to have every market system is always going to have an inequality of outcome. That's just how it's going to happen. You're going to have a lot that have little, and little that have a lot. Every single system.
Yeah, I've heard of that
before. The 80-20.
Yeah.
It's just every single system will mathematically equate to this. Mm-hmm. And that's why I agree with... So here's the deal. We have equality of options, but people want to have equality of outcomes. You can't have equality of outcomes. No system literally produces that outcome.
I think that's actually congruent with the golden mean, too.
What do you mean?
The golden mean.
We had this conversation before. Please re-enlighten me.
Dude, I'm the last person to be able to explain what that means, but...
Well, I mean, I'm not looking for a specific number. Give me the synopsis, bro. What's the rundown? Cliff Notes style.
Well, the Fibonacci sequence. I mean, that basically describes the curvature of the golden mean.
Which goes back to the 369 because of the way the division happens. I'm sorry, we're going to say fourth wall broken. Go ahead. Continue. I'm listening.
Anywho.
Fibonacci sequence.
Well, yeah, but it's just that everything's in relation to everything else. I think it was my only point. It's just interesting.
Yin and yang, you have to. Yeah, without one, there isn't the other. Because, I mean, you can sit there and have the debate of, chicken or egg. Well, it doesn't matter, because without the chicken, there isn't the egg, and without the egg, there isn't the chicken, and vice versa. So, you can debate who came first, all day long, but that doesn't matter, because without one, there isn't the other.
This is true.
Right, which, I mean, that goes back to your same
which
thing.
Came first, the chicken or the egg? And the answer is yes. Well, I mean, philosophically...
I'm sorry, I instantly went to Beastie Boys, Paul T.
Yeah, I know.
Which came first, the chicken or the egg?
I eat the chicken and then...
Then it is late. No, I can't. Oh, I know, but that's I'm telling you because we gotta have a Beastie Boys reference.
Well, I thought it was gonna be that kind of
What would
funny.
be an episode if we didn't have a Beastie Boys reference? Like for real at this point.
Right.
Oh, but anyway, so the Fibonacci sequence.
Yeah, how do you do that? Wait, you can't do that.
Wait, no, but that's where you were at. So, like, the purpose of, like, hey, you have that, everything, there's synchronicities.
It's the sound of science.
It's
now
the
I get it. Okay. All right, that's what links us.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Did I just...
the ping pong
Excuse me,
ball.
miss. I think I just bumped you.
Dropping it all over. Driving around, sound like you're dropping a range. I can't. No, we're done.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to misappropriate lyrics on Beastie Boys.
I do not own or the copyrights.
No, but I don't want to.
We need lawyer language on this.
I don't want to be made fun of later because I got the lyrics wrong. Be that guy that says,
dude, I don't know. Bingo Jet had a light on. Yeah, no, for real. Bingo Jet had a light on. Don't carry me too far away.
Just saying.
Just saying.
Just I don't want to be that guy.
I'm telling you. I'm okay with this.
I may still end up being that guy, but...
I don't know. There was like an episode of Scrubs where they're talking about like in ho-hos girls, and it's like, no, low girls, because we're talking about low riders, not ho-ho snacks. Sorry. Okay.
Do you have some more of that tasty beverage on you?
Do you have... by chance I do, good sir. Allow me to top you off there. Oh, there it is.
Just soda pop,
That's
all that, yeah.
Yeah, no.
Just drinking some soda pop.
I had to sip my soda. Yeah, right, dude. Oh, dude. I love that guy. That's good.
Right. Get on the mic. Oh.
Yeah, off topic.
Yeah. So, no, that's what the whole thing is all... I'm telling you.
I'm going to refer back to the manifesto.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry.
There is statements wherein we need a consistency of topic.
Mm-hmm.
Free flow is the point, but there needs to be a relative corralling.
And that's why I think to some extent having a third conversationalist
Or a fact checker.
but no more.
Yeah, a third party.
A fact checker could be that would
including
we're
but
kind of
not
going to need
limited
that
to
on a regular because that would be our
not after the fact like
and we've already
literally
discussed
need.
this like that's he's going to be our engineer basically.
Yeah, this is open like conversation for people listening. Yeah, there is no payment. You just get privy knowledge beforehand somehow. Like you get I don't know nerd points or something.
Dude, I'm not getting any money. What payment? What?
But that's what I'm saying. So we ain't getting paid, neither you. You're gonna do this just because you love us. That's how that happens. This is what it is.
Paid what? I got what?
We got spirit.
I ain't got nothing.
Yeah, we got spirit.
I got some spirit. That's about it.
UGLY.
You know what?
You ain't got no alibi. You ugly.
I'd say I left my pom poms at home, but since I'm at home, that's
well.
really
I would
not
say
a
I
very
left
good
my
excuse.
wallet in El Segundo when I've got to get it. Got to get it. So, all right, let's get back to this nature nurture conversation, shall we?
Yeah, and I was just going to say, thankfully, it was just your wallet that you left in El Segundo. So,
there
we'll
was other things, but that's the main thing because it has pertinent information. I'm not going to get into it. It's
full disclosure.
No disclosure. El Segundo, as far as we go, what happens in El Segundo stays in El Segundo. Other than my wallet,
I wasn't even in aisle 4.
I was not. I indeed was not. Dude, I'll be honest, you know what? Talking about things that always come up in conversation, like our conversations has to have like Beastie Boy, right? It also has to have. I've noticed.
We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna actually talk on it, right?
Always has a movie reference in it too. At least one. Usually like 5 or 7. But I'm gonna be honest. There's always references of that fashion. And I honestly, I think that's a beautiful thing. I think it's a beautiful thing.
And that's the whole point because, right? I mean, down here it's our time.
Wow. No, we do not own. There is no copyright to. Strike that from the record. Wow.
Come on. Who's with me?
No.
All I want to know is...
No, he's... I do not associate with or know...
Do not condone or...
I do not have or at any point in time privy to any knowledge that is said therein within of what is... I don't even know what that guy says. I don't even think he knows what he says in that one.
Dude, the legal jargon has got legal jargon. I don't even know what you're saying right now.
Yeah, no, don't nobody know near not.
I'm not even on the mic. I'm this guy just floating around over here.
All right.
Anyhow.
We're going to come back around. Nature, nurture. The environment thereof.
And did I finally get my point across what that third thing was? Anyway.
I don't know if there was.
Nature, nurture, and the ability of
all right, so then,
to...
all right, let me ask you this. Because you brought up, and I feel, but I want to hear your point of, what is it that caused you to think of, or at least, what do you feel was why you felt the Charlie Chaplin speech that you had to put up? Like, what was the thing about that?
Oh, dude. All right.
Yeah, go ahead. Because, I mean, there's obviously a point to it that you felt connected to, because there was an emotional connection to it. It really was. And it was a beautiful thing. So I want to...
Well, there's been... And, I mean, I don't have to tell you this, but, there's been for... God, it's probably close to 2 years now, maybe? That I kind of been...
I don't know why.
I kind of been I just been turning around as much.
You just went 5 octaves up.
I know. I'm trying to think.
2 years wow.
maybe 2 years ago when I really started turning certain aspects there's something about my life that I need to flip, and I just kind of go, okay, well, I'm just going to do this now.
So my semantics,
so
it would be when you started to question. So when you started to become more aware.
With the whole thing with my diet and the thing with kind of reconnecting with the spiritual side of me, whatever that means. And you and I have had this conversation before where I'm aware that you have always been kind of on that level. In and out, there's been times where it's been more or less, but somehow or another. Doesn't everyone? I mean, that's for me.
So we've had this conversation before where you asked me, you're like, hey, when we were younger, we used to not really have this heavy of a conversation. Like, we would have conversations, but never to this kind of depth. And you asked me, you're like, did you always think about this stuff, or is this just now, or so does everybody think about it? Maybe, but maybe they don't, because maybe in this life they're not supposed to. Because you have to understand is everybody has their position to play. Right? What's the Shakespeare thing? All the world is a stage, and we all have our acts, our parts to play. Right?
Oh, and that's even actually a very Hindu belief too. I mean, there's a certain role that you play. I mean, depending on what
your karma, your purpose,
what go around you are this time. Are you going to be a warrior? Are you going to be a business owner, like a shopkeeper? Are you going to be devoted wife? What role are you going to play? It's the wheel of karmic involvement. As you say,
Comma. And
those
you don't own or copyright.
There are those people that have the full belief that you basically choose what you're going to be dropped into this go-around. And every go-around, whatever. Based on what you need.
I equated this to...
So I must have been doing pretty good to get dropped where I was, just to say, I am very thankful.
Not necessarily. I'll be honest, because here's the deal. What if, right? We have this green room conversation, devil's advocate, right? What if? So nature, nurture, regardless... Right, so we're aware that there's these predispositions. So we're aware of our environment. We're aware of our genetic makeup, right? Regardless, we choose. Right, to me, it's almost like Grand Theft Auto, where we have this life where we just wake up and we're either in the one where it's 1980s and it's Compton, or it's Florida, or so you literally get to pick video game style, your construct, the rules, right? All of the feasible faculties, resources, etc.
Are we doing a life comparison?
So you get to pick all of this stuff, right? You get to have all of the statements of the construct, but here's the catch. When you're inserted into the video game, your memory is wiped. And it's up to you to figure it out. And meanwhile, while we're playing the video game, memory wiped, all of our friends are actually out there, Pizza like Hut style, on the video game in the middle where you're playing like Pac-Man and everybody gets to sit around you and watch because it's it's the table console. You're inside it, Tron style, playing Grand Theft Auto as a sim. And they're up there laughing at us because they're just like, dude, he's not even remember this because it's hilarious. I can't even wait. And then when we get back, there's like this huge. So like, what if this life is literally just a cosmic joke of a video game?
I don't necessarily think it resets the moment you're born. And follow me on this one, all right? So consciousness. Here's a big one. Okay. We're going to go there, aren't we? On episode 2, we're going to start delving into consciousness.
We can revisit. It's okay.
Anyway,
as it probably will be on a chronological order.
Consciousness, you can understand the concept of going to sleep and never waking up again. You can understand that conceptually.
Of course.
But on the flip side, you have to also accept and understand the concept of waking up, having never had the feeling of going to sleep. So,
in a sense, right? I follow.
In a way, the act of if you go with the theory that your spirit travels and has individual identity as self that you think of now, it doesn't. But when it goes out of this reality and into another one, there's so much. You're connected back to. This is just me thinking out loud. You're connected back.
Yeah, I'm listening. I'm hearing everything.
You're connected back to the source of everythingness for a moment, and then back again into a young life. Because
reincarnation, you get to go back to the source and then come back out. I mean, that's electronics, right? A battery. You have anode and cathode. You have to start and then finish, and then it goes back around again. Right.
Well, I mean, if you want to have that argument,
there's a cycle.
Using the physical boundaries that we know of, science, like energy, and that whole argument that energy never dies; it only transforms and changes and.
Or matter, right? Energy.
No, energy.
Energy, yeah, right.
So the energy that is you, but it's a weird definition because it's not really you, Well,
but that's
that part of
that's
you,
the conversation of
that's
difference between our body, the machine, air quotes, our body, the machine, air quotes, or. In coupling with our soul. So, our body, the machine, is basically like a remote controlled vehicle, and then our consciousness is that the controller of that vehicle.
Right there, and this is the stuff I love to explore. This is the stuff. Seriously, this is the stuff I love to explore. This is a side of philosophy that I should go to college for. Just to say, like, well, yeah, I took the course and I was able to follow along, and it was fun. But
I'll be honest, that's not bragging about much. Anybody can do that.
No, it really doesn't mean much because
it means a lot to those who haven't done it. Because I'll be for real. I'm going to take a quick moment. If you have not gone to college because you think it's worthless or it's not going to mean much or you can't do it, I guarantee you. If you could do first grade and all of us can do first grade, you can go to college. If going and taking one class of college will make you be the most amazing person because you set a goal and accomplished it, please go do it. Going to college for one class is worth the experience, regardless of what that class is. Go try something. even if that includes college. Just go do it, please. Sorry, rant
I
over.
want to take a study on ancient Egyptian pottery.
Dude, I don't. Dude, study freaking table candles. What are table candles? Well, you take a table and you like pour wax on it and set it on fire, man. Wow, that's beautiful. Yeah, I don't care. Go study Gilligan's Island, dude. Take a class of any kind just to get out of who you are, explore, open, just question even a little bit, anything, just for the fact that you want to be more honest with yourself. Please do it. I guarantee you in the end, it'll be worth it. Trust me.
Well,
dude, that was... Whew.
No, that's good. That's good. See, and...
That's where I'm at.
This is the thing, and this is the thing that excites me, because it's not about a degree, a diploma. It has nothing to do with a piece of paper.
Dude, I haven't
been to college, and it's not that I can't. It's just I haven't yet.
So you and I had this conversation
maybe
earlier.
I'm already 43, but who cares? Maybe, who knows?
No, you and I had this conversation earlier about what learned it is and all that kind of stuff. Because I know for a fact, in your expressions of how many books you've read, you and I have known each other for more than half our lives. The amount of books that I've had you reference to me that you have read is by far more than any of the amount of books that I have ever read. I've read quite a few.
Really?
Really.
Wow. Because I don't feel like I read that many, but
here's the thing is, so you were always talking about, hey, I read this book, I read this book, I read this book, right? Meanwhile, when I did my college thing, I had to read this book. I had to read this book. I had to read this book.
But then do you realize that's a choice to look at it that way? I said,
because I wanted to get my piece of paper, right?
It was, yeah.
But that piece of paper means nothing to me, other than the fact that it's a culmination of that I completed a cycle, right? I have many pieces of paper. I really do. For vocational and for scholastic. So my mind and my hands have gotten me pieces of paper. So what? Because my knowledge and ability has gotten me the ability to earn pieces of paper. Right? So
but I mean,
I could care less about that.
As a person that needs to be able to distinguish truth...
Yeah, I'm not done.
Does that make you learn it?
I do, yeah, I could... Maybe, but we can talk about that in a second. Because, so you and I, like literal, because we had this conversation, and I want to make sure you get your due, because you are owed it. I have pieces of paper, you do not. I guarantee you and I, on an intellectual level, are both very learned. Difference is, I assert myself in that, you do not. And that begs my question of you. Well, yeah, but is that nature nurture, and why is it that you are still negative in that capacity? I'm not asking you that now. I'm just that comes back around to it. That's that piece that I always want to talk about. So, but that's that thing.
I mean, as a side note, honestly, right now I'm at a point where if it's where I need to go in my development, I'll pay for it my damn self just for a class to figure out what I need as I go.
A couple extra pieces of paper gives you all sorts of fucking sass, doesn't it?
Well, I'm just... It's
I'm
not
telling you.
It's not about that, though.
It's not, but it is.
Because in a way...
that's the construct.
Dude, I don't want the paper.
That's the video game.
I want the knowledge.
I know, but yeah.
You know, everybody else wants the paper. If you go for the paper, you're going to get the paper.
See, and
if you go for the knowledge, you'll keep getting the knowledge.
Here's the irony of my life. I went for the piece of paper because that's what I was supposed to do, right? I bought into it. Oh, paper, I put it on my wall, which I still put on my wall, and I'm very proud of it.
Well, you should.
Right? As should anybody. But it's not the piece of paper. It's the signal of the fact that you culminated. You did something. You set a goal. You accomplished. That has the self-worth that's built into it. That's why I say I don't care if you even take one class. Go do it. Just set out to set a goal.
Even if you made doctor, it's like you had a lot of time and money, and you really can focus. You're organized, and you're a very intelligent person who can remember a lot of facts. That's all that proves.
You get a piece of
I
paper.
mean, like,
for it.
seriously, like...
I mean, now mind you, you get to work on people, living things.
Is
so
it just, be completely honest, a dentist, a doctor, whoever you're looking for, if you need a new one, do you care about how fancy his degree is? Or do you care about how he treats you as a person? Honestly. He doesn't have to be the most talented motherfucker when it comes to dental tools.
I'm going to have 2 conversations on that, actually. So, one, I can care less about any of that. Because the simple fact is we're talking about my life or my well-being, right? So, dentist, doctor. Think about this. I'm going to interject the idea of an auto mechanic. A proper technician, as it were. Which can be a mechanic as well, because mechanics can be technicians. Just means that they think from
Let's be honest, that's what a doctor is.
Well, right. So, and this is going to be my statement. So, as a auto technician, as a dentist, as a doctor, all of you have the same relative sense of worth to society. Because he or she who maintains or repairs your automobile, this anywhere from 10 to 70 mile an hour traveling bullet of death, if it's not properly maintained or repaired, can literally come apart and cause cataclysmic events. Right?
Yeah.
So a single individual's appropriate actions can cause a multitude of negative effects of mass death because they were being diminished in their ability. Like, oh, just a mechanic. I beg to differ. So there's that fact of, one, they have that same kind of worth, and we need to discuss what worth is in this world, and it shouldn't have anything to do with money. Just respect, appreciation, but that's another thing. But as well as, it's like, hey, you who has something to provide towards society is a thing. Regardless of title, piece of paper, learned. If you can do something that is worthwhile, with or without paper, regardless of title, that's a thing. And that's something that we need to be.
But you know what? And this just harkens back to the direction the conversation was going earlier. It's like today's society, they're trying to remove the human contact portion of business to customer or business to business. Everything's done electronically now. All shipments are made. They don't even get on the phone with each other. Almost all of these decisions by supermarket chains on what they're going to purchase to put on their shelves, there's no person making these decisions. It's all done by algorithm.
Yeah, the grocery market model, yeah.
But a lot of things run
$0.01 on the dollar.
that. A lot of things run on that.
Percentages on the cents.
A lot of things run on that. It's not just the grocery market. It's
the efficiency of the economy.
Yeah.
It's the 80-20 rule, bro.
And now you're getting to a point where, and this is the concern for a lot of people, and I'm sure people who are listening on this line will understand that small business is getting pushed out because this kind of attitude.
That's why I go back to the whole nature-nurture on that, right? Is that something that's done of our environment or indicative of us from our DNA? The 80-20, that we have to have that differentiation. To me, that seems to be the construct of the game. Like, we can't get away from that rule.
The problem is it works with everything. And no. I'm just saying. I'm saying the same thing. Like, you have a crowd of people, and out of a crowd of people, what you're doing to another individual may be completely inhumane. But as long as most of the people seem to be okay with it, you're not gonna.
Groupthink is a mother. I'm just saying.
I mean, that's the thing.
All right, so for those of you who don't know what groupthink is,
you become animal instinct at that point.
Well, yeah, no, that. All right, so yeah, all right,
mob mentality.
So
True democracy is bullshit.
I
Let's be honest.
have a slight psychological background from a scholastic level.
Democratic Republic. Let's remember that. Sorry.
I didn't say that. That's
Anyway.
not me. Groupthink. Quick lesson in groupthink. I don't know the exact study. I'm going to paraphrase this. The idea is there's 4 people in a room that is a part of a panel, and there's a fifth. The fifth is the component that is the variable to the study that they're trying to figure out what groupthink is. And then they have a authoritative figure. That individual, the authoritative figure, asks a question. The other 4 people, one says, hey, the answer is this, and they all agree, even though the answer is actually incorrect, leaving the 5th person, who again is the actual component of the study, to say, hey, are you going to say the actual answer, or are you going to agree? Now, here's the thing. Typically, it takes 2 to 3 questions on the average. 2 to 3 questions of all of those 4 people agreeing to the incorrect answer again and again and again. Typically, on the 3rd or 4th question, the 5th person now starts to agree with the other 4. This is groupthink. You are so afraid as a machine of death that you want to go with what everyone else says so that you can be included into the group, just so that you can be fed and have shelter.
Well, the machine you're talking.
That's groupthink.
The machine you're talking about is a.
The body.
It's
a system, a machine.
Well, it's
your body and everything.
It's a social mechanism. Is what you're talking about. I mean,
both.
The machine,
yeah.
The group think itself. But I mean, what's weird about that is the 80-20 thing. It works with every aspect of that. So within that group of people, right? 80% of the people, they ain't gonna say shit, because as long as the other 20% are going along with whatever's happening, they're just going to jump right on that and be like, okay, I'm good right here. Because as long as it's, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, whatever.
Well, and that's what that study hypothesized, was that if you did but
that also leaves at least 20%.
You got to get along to go along.
That leaves 20% that don't necessarily feel that way. But out of that, there's only a 20% chance that somebody is going to get actually pissed off enough to speak out against it.
Are you saying that 20% of the 20%?
So it's like every time you cut that 20,
you're literally saying 20% of 20%?
Sure, and it keeps getting,
and then 20% of that 20%?
Right, because then then there's a success rate that falls off.
Mr. Gemini, do you know what calculus and derivatives are? You just explained it in layman's terms.
Well, there you go. Bam, booyah. Anyhow.
Yeah, no, science knowledge drop. Oh, boom. Deviations. Now, mind you, it's not always 20% of 20%, but the basic understanding is that there is a relative, within every construct, there's always a deviation of the deviation of the deviation, which is just an automatic, because it's just the statistical...
There's a different aspect that you can look at.
The statistical anomaly for it to not exist is impossible, right? So the math in and of itself basically provides that a deviation of a deviation of a deviation, of every construct of a set number has to exist.
And potentially for the multiverse to happen in exactly the way that it is here and now.
Exactly.
Could never ever happen again, and will never ever happen again under the same exact parameters.
Absolute truth.
And this moment is now gone. Anyhow.
Wait, when will now be now?
Right. See that? We see. You see that?
You see what I did there?
It's the again that makes it funny. That's weird, wacky stuff. That really is. Did you know that? I did not know that.
Ugh.
Cheers.
Yeah, no, I think honestly that's a great point to go ahead and stop. We've that's plenty of material. I think we're gonna be good. We need to take a break, and we're gonna come back at it. So,
I'm gonna love listening to this.
I'm telling you, man. I am telling you. I love listening to me.
And you have to. I'm telling you.
But dude, one, that's the brand. Two,
that's
our signature. It was before.
You.
That's what. But dude, that's where it came from.
With the echo.
But that's where it came from. You and I for so long. Because I mean, dude, that was how long ago was like what nasty? I mean, was that 2000, 2002, something? Dude, we're talking over 20 years ago, right? At least. It's an antique at this point.
We can't take any credit or any. No.
Oh yeah, no, we don't own the copyrights to none of that. No, Bismarcky, the Beastie Boys, that is all them. We have no affiliation to. I'm sorry, but I would love to.
Much love.
Much love. I grew up on them hard, so hard. I mean, dude, the Beastie Boys was the first East Coast that I ever listened to coming from the West Coast, like for real, for real.
And that's Paul's Boutique, and we're in Brooklyn.
It is Paul's Boutique. We're in Brooklyn. Yeah, no, that's yeah.
Because you can, you won't, you don't stop.
All right, it's been a privilege, my friend. Number 2, down, like legit. Hopefully, amazing audio. I'm expecting.
Yeah.
So, until the next conversation, green room. It could be I get 10 minutes, 10 days.
Hold on a second.
I'm
really getting broken up.
Thank
there.
you all.
I mean,
We'll talk to you soon. Later.
Hold on. Good night.